Evening, some shit, some say, make a difference in this world. So what? Just into the studio, busting them out. What feels the world that up ammonia? Just got the radio and supply. Something like Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Ain't That Right? I'm your host, Duncan Dad. We are live on SR1029thegame.com across all the platforms Twitter, our EV Mux station, our Kick station, on the Facebook, on the X, on the Gram. Welcome aboard today. And I had a conversation earlier, and I'm kind of just going to like jump right into this, right? Conversation about how maybe some things that were standard practice or more of the norm many moons ago really need to be reintroduced. And this isn't like, oh my God, here Dunk goes. He's going to get everybody thrown under the bus and he's not progressive. He doesn't understand how things happen today, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the case. What I'm trying to say is I'm all for being casual, right? I'm all for being comfortable. I'm all for shutting some things down, taking it easy. I'm guilty of, walking out in sweatpants or jogging pants way more than I did growing up. I think that's kind of just the style of the times, etc. But let's just let's just go into this for a second. I want you guys to come along with this ride with me. And I think you guys know that I know that you know that we all know where we're going with this. All right, like you don't go to a place of business where you're you're expecting a particular result or a service completely dress casual or completely just roll out of bed, throw something on. You're on vacation and sort of have the vacation vibe. You're at the resort, everything's inclusive, whatever. Listen, you're paying for it. You can do whatever it is that you want, but you're rolling out like on a Friday night, Saturday night. You're having a date, you're meeting someone, you know, like take a little pride in what you're doing, right? You do need to not only dress to impress, because that's a big thing nowadays, right? But also, like, you need to dress for the occasion, right? And we've completely missed that mark, right? Everybody knows, the Big W store. People walk into there, and you're like, "You're wearing that here in public?" And there's the balance, right? The balance is like, well, they're living who they are. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're not going to put on airs for anybody else. But at what point was there a disassociation in the society to sit there and say, you know what? Just do whatever you want, dress however you want, go about your business however you want. Maybe a little bit needs to come back, right? There are certain things you dress for, how you present yourself, how you show up to things. And why this came up is because it was perusing through the ether and I came across two articles. One was when you show up for a job interview or you show up to begin a business, having your business meetings, whatever, unless you're super duper comfortable and you know these individuals and you're just talking shop and cutting it up, there is this employer to employee sort of ratio, or this is a more fitting metaphor or more fitting scenario where you have a prescribed or perceived business and how are you dressing or a function, right? Again, do what you wanna do, be super casual, be super dressed up, whatever it is that you guys wanna do. For me, I've always been whatever the occasion or whatever the environment dictates, that's 9 times out of 10 how I will go ahead and present myself. Just the way that I was brought up, just the way that things have sort of, evolved for me. I've seen things work. I've seen where you show up for those interviews and you're not really put together all the way. And granted, this gets into a whole conversation of people's socioeconomic background, what they have accessibility and availability to. And we can talk about that in its own sort, in its own conversation. But this in particular, You want to show up and present the best version of yourself, and you feel as if the best version of yourself is casual, more power to you. Go ahead, do your thing. Don't worry about it. But you should respect the venture that you are getting into. And there are certain rules, rights, and rubrics that apply to particular situations. You want to go to the Big W store, you want to chill in your pajama pants and throw on your Crocs and put your hair up. Dude, listen, more power to you. Go ahead, have fun. I'm not going to do it. If you want to, that's awesome. Go ahead, knock yourself out, have a good time. Professional interviews, business settings. We've skewed this line between casual and business casual, right? Used to be suit and tie, used to be at least a shirt and a tie. Even if you worked in any sort of, maybe it could be considered a formal setting. I remember working at a grocery store and we had to have button shirts, tab collars, pressed slacks or whatever, and whatever shoes that were, non-slip, blah 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 blah. The point being is that like now you could get by with a t-shirt. Oh, but it's all uniform. It's all the team on the t-shirt. Okay, but when you put something nice on, you tend to carry yourself in a little better manner. It gives you confidence. Man, I feel like I'm really put together today. I look really well today. I'm looking really good. Okay, all right. Yeah, you know what? A little bit more confidence, a little more oomph, a little more pizzazz. Okay, now maybe I'm thinking a little more clear. Maybe I'm thinking a little more long term. Maybe not so reactive. Maybe I'm looking at my job and I'm saying, well, this kind of sucks today. It sucked for the last week. I'm just going through the motions. Oh, wait a second. No, today, I dressed up a little bit, a little sprucey. So there's a fine line, right, between doing it for yourself, doing it for the job, doing it for the occasion, and all the benefits and all the detractors that come along with it, plus or minus where you go on the scale and your personality, etc. So you have these instances now where certain prescribed settings used to be it used to be second nature, right? Like you're not rolling up into church with crop top and short shorts and your flip flops. Well, you might do that if you're in Florida. You might do that if you're in California. People sit there and argue with, well, it depends on, where you're at, and that's not who's judging you, and blah 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 blah. Whatever faith you prescribe to. This is just a general example. But we've gone away from, you look at old pictures and people like shirt, suit, tie, dressed to the nines, going to this. Now it's like, okay, well, as long as you're showing up and taking part in whatever you're taking part of, then I guess you're meeting the minimums. Kudos to you. I'm all for that. I'm all for the interpersonal relationships with people, places, and things. But at some point, there's a line where you're being comfortable with yourself really starts to mirror this. I don't want to say pride and hubris, but yes, you become your environment. You become what you surround yourself with. And sorry to say, a lot of that starts with your routine. It starts with what you're putting on each day. It starts with how you take care of yourself. Oh, guilty of letting the hair grow a little bit too long on the face, not being completely, cut in and shaved. Let your hair get a little straggly or whatever. Everyone has those moments, but when you lean into that because of laziness, or you lean into that because of you not addressing other areas of your life, you know that these things start to fall off. And we hide under this guise of, well, I'm being my true me. I'm being my true self. Are you really being your true self, or are you going through the motions and turn it on, turn off when you need to? Some people do that. Some people, that's their whole get up, their whole existence. Awesome. Awesome. Not one to judge. I'm saying as a greater perception that everyone take back and look at. What are you trying to convey in yourself because whether you try to or not, whether you're the most humble, self-reliant, amazing self-esteem, how you portray, how other people perceive you to be, and it starts with the appearance, that becomes the reality for them, right? The reality for them is that I see XYZ person, they dress like this, that's the occasion. All right, kind of fits the mold. Oh, we want to break through the mold. We want everybody to be comfortable. Okay, that's fine. But now I know that this guy or girl could have all the talent in the world, but without getting to know them, that's the catch, right? Without actually spending ample amount of time with them to sample the skill set or sample the relationship or sample the endeavor, you take everything that's on face value. You might be the most serious, the most intelligent, the most educated, the most problem-solving individual in the group. If you don't come off like that, people aren't going to put you into that category, and then you sit there and you feel slighted. "Oh, I'm slighted. No one's coming to me. No one's asking my opinion. No one's talking to me. I got all the answers," and you keep your mouth shut. Why? Well, because I'd rather be looked at as the fun, happy, outgoing person or whatever, and, I really don't wanna get into this whole serious thing because then I gotta change my whole repertoire. Or you are this over the top individual, and it doesn't matter what you wear, what you put on, what you do, where you go. You're just like that person, woman or man, boy or girl, type A, go getter person. They're ultra competitive when they play sports. They're ultra competitive in the boardroom. They're ultra competitive in relationships. They're ultra competitive, with themselves. Doesn't matter what you put on at that point because your personality and who you are has established the fact that this is who I am. This is who I really am. But for a lot of us, we we change with the seasons. What's hot now? What's not now? We get comfortable with this. We want to try this on, wear that, do this, go there. And what is the message that's being conveyed? Am I flighty? Am I just discerning? Am I just trying to figure stuff out? Am I just trying to have variety as the spice of life? Am I just adjusting, being a chameleon to each of these different little scenes? And yes, those are all valid and truthful points for some individuals, but you need to have some boundaries. There has to be some sort of framework, some sort of menu that you can go back to, right? There's a reason why for whatever reason, there's a reason when you go out, say for a meal, pick any establishment up and down. There's always a bread plate, right? It's just like a standard. It's like, now there's bread. You go to some place like, man, this bread is really good. Other places like, man, this bread really is like horrible. It sucks. It's probably days old. But you're so conditioned into having this that no matter where it is that you go and what you do, you begin to typecast yourself into a particular place and a particular role. Like, I know that when I watch someone on the PGA Tour, like, let's go back to when we were kids or I was kids. Like, you saw John Daly, you're like, "Man, John Daly was fun." British Open, fantastic. Like, wins a couple of these tournaments, sort of "Oh, well, he came out of nowhere." No, he didn't come out of nowhere. Like, he was really proficient and really good at his craft. His detractors were, well, maybe he smoked a little too much, maybe he drank a little too much, and immediately, instead of getting to know the person, people just label him as, "Oh, that's the recluse, that's the fun guy, that's just who he is." You may have missed many of decent opportunities with an individual like that because he's been typecast, you've typecast, and that's what I'm getting to is, like, you have the power, again, all the socioeconomic stuff aside, right? Like, you have the power to present and portray yourself. If anything, you have that power. This is where you are empowered, right? You are able to look up and down your wardrobe. You are able to get inside your head and say, "You know what? I'm going to be confident and I'm going to be assertive, but I'm not going to be an ass. I'm going to be particular in my craft, but I'm not going to be pompous about it." Are there moments that call? for you to be that way and do those things? Yeah, absolutely. Right, there's some times where you need to just take charge, and there's other times where you need to lean back a little bit. But how other people are seeing you do this without getting to know you, it's just human nature. You look at someone, you see what they're wearing, you see how they're speaking, and you're like, "Oh, that's I know who that guy is. Oh, I know who that girl is." Could be the farthest thing from the truth. So, is it important to present yourself in a decent light? Yes, it is. It is important. Does I saying you have to conform to every little long-standing, uh, standard or long-standing rule? No, not really. No, you don't have to do that. You're able to be, "Well, I'm let my true self come through, and my work and whatever will speak for itself and da 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 da." Right, but sometimes you need to look the part in order to get into the room. Once you're in the room, that's on you, and that's where we have a lot of problem in society, because why? Well, certain people don't belong in this room. Okay, let's get past that. Let's get past that certain people don't belong in any rooms. Let's get to the point where we engage with individuals and on their resume, on their merit, on their skill set, on their abilities. Now we start to be like, "Oh, yeah, of course. You always belonged here. Of course. Come on in." But if you go out and I'm gonna use Jersey Shore, right? Because it's Italians, let's go, right? Like you go to the gym, pump an iron, then you hit the tan, or you go outside in your tan, and you slick the hair back, wear the big sunglasses, the tank top, the big gold chains, walking with a little cockiness. Like someone's gonna look at you and say, "Ah, there's the Jersey Shore person. There's the Guidos. There's the gym tan, whatever." I mean, you know what it is, right? Like whether you're that person or not, that's that role that you're portraying. And what is a cautionary tale is that, especially in today's day and age, especially in today's day and age, you will meet individuals along the course of your life. Over the course of your life, it is a natural occurrence for you to evolve and to learn. Some people it takes more time, other times it's really, really fast. Many times you may find the opposite. You will devolve. But as you progress, you're meeting individuals now for the first time in whatever setting situation it is. And that becomes the benchmark. That becomes the standard. Where it used to be, "Oh, write me a letter of recommendation. I'm going to take it to my new job." And I fly across the country, right? I leave Philadelphia. I'm taking a job in, Phoenix. "Oh, here's my little resume. Here's my little CV. Here's my recommendation from this guy. Why should you hire me? Why should I work for the team? Why should this? Oh, well, it says here that you did blah 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 blah, and your editor gave you this big review. Have a good time." Okay, awesome. We're gonna hire you and take a chance based on this other person's recommendation. In 2025, you're writing your own recommendation constantly. So you can try to fake it till you make it. You can try to be something more or less than you are. It's easy. You say one thing that doesn't sit right with people, that moves and travels like wildfire. It's difficult to go ahead and reinvent yourself and have another first impression with someone or something. And that begins with how you are presenting yourself. And sorry, presentation of yourself is, do you have decent hygiene? Are you dressing appropriate for the situation? Do you look put together? Because at that point, then if I don't know you and we all say, "Oh, we don't judge and we accept and blah, 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 blah," you're more likely to walk up to someone if they are well kept and put together. And they could be the worst person in the world and pass on the person standing over there in the shorts and the t shirt who might be the next greatest thing since sliced bread. But we're geared to move towards the shiny thing, right? We're geared to chase after the pretty object. This is psychologically proven, it's scientifically proven. You just you are. That's the reason why when you put down a lot of these, especially in Western civ, right? Like you put down a lot of these meals that may come from different parts of the world, and you look at it and you're like, "Oh, that looks disgusting. There's no way that I'm gonna eat that. There's no way that I'm gonna try that." In actuality, it's probably the greatest meal you will ever have in your entire life. Your palate will have taste and experiences that you would never possibly conceive based on what it is that you're doing. But in that moment of perception, things get shut down. First time that I had foie gras, right? The duck liver, whatever. It had been built up to be this elite, amazing pate style accouchement. Was it good? Yeah, it was really good. Was it something that I would seek out over something that I'm comfortable with or something that I have a fascination for? No, not probably not, but I appreciate it and I respect it and I can see why individuals would like it. I like it. I'll eat it. Not gonna push it away, but healing wise, when you look at the very broken down basic components of it, I mean, it could be the most expensive, greatest piece of foie gras in the world. You put a couple nice pieces of bacon in front of me, guarantee that I'm going for the bacon. It just appeals to me. And other things and different things appeal to different people, which is amazing. And it's great. And you're trying to find that tribe. You're trying to find that niche. You're trying to see where you fit inside that whole experience that is life. But there are these standards that one, it takes time for people to get past, or two, you have to be given an opportunity or take the opportunity or seize the opportunity to show that despite your version, that's not who I am when it comes to this particular area of my career. There was a big thing a couple years ago about a lot of the individuals who got into graphic design, more modern art, people like in theaters, etc. And nobody was like, "Wow, they got tattoos everywhere. Can't do that." Blah blah. I knew individuals who were in law enforcement, and they were told you need to wear long sleeves because you can't see your tattoo sleeves. That has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on how that individual is going to perform their job. But perception is reality. Perception of individuals who are interacting with this greater entity or with you on this interpersonal level perceive it to be a particular way. Why? Because that was their experience. You want to be at a point where you can share why you choose to dress a certain way, why you choose to have tattoos, why you choose to uh, prescribe to this particular, behavior, lifestyle, whatever it is. Like that's the part where we all need to really be at. Okay, you choose to do this, wear this, do this. Fine. Let's have a conversation about it, share with you so I don't prejudge you. So I don't automatically sit there and say, well, nope, this isn't going to work out. Person's not going to be in the room. And we have a lot of that goes on. A lot of it has been to a point systemic, right? Like certain people go there, other people can't go over there. All right. If those are the boundaries you want to put on yourself, that's great. But let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it proceeds. Let's really work through this with one another and actually see if there's truth to that. Sometimes there's truth to it. Sometimes there's no truth to it all. It's just people being scared, people not wanting to, you know, pull back the layers and get into whatever else they got going on in their own world. But there is, and I can get back to this, there is a standard, right? Right. Without standards, you would have, to a lesser point, chaos. That's why when you go and get fuel for your car or you charge, whatever it is, they have a certain metric that says so many kilowatts, so many gallons are equal to this. Why? Because if we just let y'all up there and just pump away or charge away or whatever, there would be a disparity so great, right? That's why you hear complaints a lot of times like, well, why is gas in California? $7, $8, and on the East Coast, it's like $3, 3.25. Who's doing that? Who's controlling it? And I use it as a metaphor because it's still the same gallon of gas. It's still the same productivity. It's still the same fuel, right? The loaf of bread that they made 20 years ago is the same loaf of bread they're making today. Break it down to your bare basic. Go to your local little bakery that everybody loves nowadays because you're all patronizing mom and pop shops. Go for it. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I think that's how you keep communities thriving, taking part in the community, taking part in the businesses that are in the community, relying a little bit more on your neighbors, relying a little bit more on those around you to make a difference in areas that they can actually make a difference. And on that note, quick shout out. Yesterday was Ron Jaworski's birthday. Great gentleman, obviously ex-Eagle quarterback. You see him everywhere, ESPN, NFL Films, you hear him on the radios. But his foundation, Jaws Youth Playbook, they have been going crazy with helping people out since this year started. They just got done their dress drive, prom dresses, shoes, jewelry, accessories for individuals in the community that may not have access to that stuff. So shout out to Jaws. Shout out to all the work that they keep doing. Go ahead and patronize them. JawsYouthPlaybook.org. You can find him on Twitter at CEO Jaws, I believe. Uh, those are the things. But you see that perception of how a particular area and community or person should be treated because of the situation that they find them in, that's our that's our responsibility. People are like, "Oh, how do you make change? How do you do this? How can you change this perception? How can you change this reality?" If I make it my mission and my job to be open, honest, sharing, understanding, and listen instead of just speak, which I do a lot of, I then get a better picture of what someone is going through. But catch 22, right? I can't force someone to tell me what is it they're going through if they don't value where I'm at or that I'm not valuable to them. Well, why? I don't want to talk to them. Why do you talk? Well, look at them. They have an agenda. They have something that's going on. They're above me. They're below me. No one is above you and no one is below you. People may be in different places in their life based on their hard work or on generational status, but those are just tools. That's not the definition of the people or the person or how they are or how they could actually impact and affect, your life. Everybody still gets up and has to do the same routine. Right? There used to be an adage where it's like, "Well, everybody gets up and put their pants on the same way, put their shoes on the same way." Yes, we know, we know. We're speaking about the the greater majority, but it's true. How then I present, how then I portray is exactly what I'm trying to elicit. "Oh, I dress like that because it makes me feel good," and, "Oh, I think that" yes, okay. You may feel good that you're walking around in your, you know, eh, skin tight jeans or your super short shorts and whatever, but, there is going to be, whether you want to admit it or not, some sort of unsolicited reaction that you got no control over. So, are you prepared for that? In the same way, are you prepared to be, "Well, I'm carrying myself in a decent manner, and I'm wearing this and da 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 da," and not saying the other stuff isn't decent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if I show up to whatever, any event, any interaction, and I am just tuxedo, black tie, wingtips, top hat, monocle, like everything, people are gonna be a certain way. Certain people are like, "Man, look at this person going hard trying to be way, way, way extra." They're just not comfortable with who they are. I can't even imagine talking to them or being with them. Other people might be like, "Oh, man, that guy's put together. He must have his. He's got his things, his ducks in a row. He's ready to go. Same way. You may show up, you're the most beautiful person in the room, but you got to get to that next step. But you can't go into these situations and feel ostracized that someone may perceive you to be something that you're not, or someone may throw an unsolicited compliment or insult your way. Are there lines? Of course, there's lines. We understand that there's lines. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that how other people are taking it, interacting it, responding to, you don't have any control over. So you could beat the drum all day. I felt like I was objectified. Boom, 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 boom. Well, there's a fine line between, yes, I did this because I look nice, blah, 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 but what is it actually portraying? What message is it portraying? Because you don't have the opportunity to portray your message in real time with random individuals that you're going to come across unless you engage and take the time to explain it. Which, here we go now, right? Here's the great tool that is social media. Oh, look at all these pictures, blah, 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 thirst trap, thirst trap. Well, maybe they just feel comfortable and confident and they want to wear stuff like this. Maybe this guy wants to go to the gym and he wants to show off the six pack. He wants to show off the delts, the biceps, whatever. Okay. You have this ability now, more so than ever, to really curate and create and maintain this transparency. It doesn't mean you're going to have all the greatest responses in the world. Doesn't mean that people aren't going to throw you shade. Doesn't mean that people aren't going to judge because that's just what people do. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, newsflash. Like Patino said to his boys up there in St. John's when they got into the Big East tournament, like life is about adversity a little bit, right? How you adapt, how you react in situations, how you present yourself, how you come equipped or unequipped. Those are big things. And we've lost that because we've fallen back onto this crutch of, well, if I don't like it, I'll just say something and somebody will take my side and it'll be okay. Yeah, there's some truth into that, but at the same time, there's a little bit more of just you made your decision, go ahead, live in it, own it, be your best you. Don't pay attention to X, Y, and Z. I used to be like, oh, we're bullying. I'm like, well, the bullying has power if you pay him power, pay him attention, blah, 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 blah. Well, yes, I mean there is some truth to that. There's truth in every little comment, every little quippet that comes across. Whether it's the totality of truth, probably not. But we've we've really gotten away from this point now where we want to have all this expression. We want to have all of this freedom. We want to be able to be protected by every single thing up and down. And then if something doesn't sit right, well, there's a fail safe for that. There's a fail safe for that. There's a fail safe for that. If you're being decent and respectable and holding your own and standing on your principles and standing on your convictions, you're probably not going to find yourself in those situations, right? It's going to be someone else who is, insecure with themselves or someone who is completely fixated or overwhelmed with one particular area of their existence or their life or whatever it is. And that's going to dictate and play out for them. Now, well, I shouldn't be the victim. I shouldn't be the subject matter of da 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 da. Right, like no one goes out and's like, man, I hope somebody says something really raunchy and mean to me today because I'm wearing whatever. No, but like if you show up to like uh, a business meeting or a church function and you're wearing next to nothing, you're probably going to get some shade. The same way that if you show up for a business meeting or you show up where you're presenting yourself because you want to, aspire to be something and you're just unkept, not put together, you're probably gonna get docked a little bit of like, well, this person has a lot going on, but they're not really taking care of themselves. They're not really giving the image of the company that we want. And we complain, that's not fair. I don't like that. It's someone else's livelihood, someone else's business, someone else's, you know, world. You're going into their world. If they're coming to your world, that's completely different. But when you go and extend yourself, should you be accepted for who you are? Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely, you should. But there's another side to that coin, right? Like, we forget nowadays so many times that there's this other side, there's the standard. And honest to gosh, like, it's a really low standard, right? Really low standard. Hey, this is the uniform that our company uses. We just ask that all people do blah, 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 blah. Right? It just ended this year, right? The Yankees finally got rid of their no facial hair thing. It was just a Yankee standard. They're like, hey, you know what? We want clean shaven dudes playing ball. That's just our image. We like it. So now, 100 years later, they're like, that proclivity really doesn't hold up nowadays, and we like these other players, and facial hair really doesn't have an impact on how they perform on the field. So go ahead, guys, you can have facial hair. All right, okay. So now, who's right and who's wrong? Was it right because the players are finally like, yay, we can have our facial hair? Was it the organization folding to the pressure of the time, or did everybody just come to realization that you know what, whether you have facial hair, whether you don't have facial hair, really doesn't impact what they're doing. Whether he has tattoos or no tattoos, doesn't impact what they're doing. Whether they have gauges, doesn't impact what they're doing. But there is a line there where the perceived image or the perceived reality of said endeavor doesn't align with maybe what you have going on. Well, that's not fair. They can't do that to me. No. No, they can. They can. And that's the hard part that we have to swallow nowadays. It's like if you're promoting XYZ item and you're promoting pick a subject matter and you have the exact opposite representation of said product or subject matter, probably not a good fit, right? Like you can think of a million examples in everyone in your heads right now. A million, just think of a million examples, right? And you're like, I guess that really doesn't go together. I guess not. That really doesn't line up. This person may be able to do the role that we're asking them for, but this totality doesn't really fit our whole mold. How many times have we seen in the last 2 months, where people have been excused from their positions because maybe what they were doing on their own time didn't align with this particular company, this particular venture over here. And that's that gray area, soft spot, sweet spot that exists. Why? Oh, well, there's a morality clause, so don't be over here doing OnlyFans and come to school and, teach my kids. Well, pay me more. I wouldn't have to do that kind of thing. Okay, we understand. You have free choice? Yeah, absolute free choice. Do what you want to do. But this doesn't align with that. So in our position, whether you might be the greatest educator in the world, that's not the message that we want to convey to our population, not our population of students, population of parents, etc., etc. Those are just some of the things that come along with it. And we're so accustomed to nowadays of, and I'll say this, having our cake and eating it too, right? Like we want it all. Shout out to Freddie Mercury and Queen. We want it now. And that's a good mantra for your goals and your ventures that you're trying to tick off the list or master a set skill or you want this recognition. Like it's all earned, it's all through your effort. But because of the society sometimes, specifically with social media, why you need to be respectful of the social media and really use it to your betterment. Not saying you can't express yourself, not saying that you cannot be open and honest. You should live your best life, right? Live your best life. Be happy. Yeah, sure. Awesome. Like, that's great. Like, everybody should do that. But be aware and be mindful that there's another side to that as well. But we're so fixated on just one side of the coin that when the other side comes up, we feel as if everything is wrecked, everything is over, everything is done with. Can it happen? Yeah, it can happen. But if you're confident and secure and you're up to your convictions, up to your principles, then it shouldn't really matter. Again, Murphy's Law, we get it. There's threats, there's harassment, there's things that rise to the level of you need to address it. But you should address everything because everything small is sometimes small stuff is just small stuff, right? But it takes a lot of small steps to make a big step. Right, exactly. It does. But some things, if you paid attention to every single person, place, or thing that you came in contact with or that came in contact with you would have very, very difficult existence. Get back to our priorities, get back to your pillars, get back to your foundations, get back to your priority placement of life, priority placement of endeavors, priority placement of your principles, your actions, your disciplines. Mastering that, then when you present yourself to someone, you can choose to present yourself how you want, where you want, when you want. Then the decision is on them. But you should know and not be naive with the fact that regardless of how confident and comfortable you are, and this is, oh my God, it sounds wrong. Regardless of how comfortable and confident and well versed you are, in order to have that first initial impression, I hope you're presenting yourself well. What I'm scared off because he's dressed like that. Okay, I need to take a deep breath myself, sit down and actually engage this person and come to an opinion. But you can't then ask the individual to be unprejudiced to the fact that, well, I didn't like how the person was dressed. I didn't like how the person spoke. I didn't like how the person carried themselves. That was just for me personally, my experience, it was a red flag, blah, 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 blah. You could be the greatest person in the world. Again, there's no judgment on that. Just means that this might not work out the way that we both want it to work out. And your resume is fantastic. And guess what? There's no lawsuit there. There's no, oh my God, go to social media and cry and B and C because you didn't get picked and because of my impression, blah, 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 blah. No, some things just don't fit. It takes two people for things to fit, or at least two people willing to understand and engage with another person. And given time, it begins to come together and starts to fit. But if from the get go someone is just not ready, they're not there, you can't make them be there. You cannot force them to be there. You cannot compel them to be there. You can't. And you can't demand that they're there. Again, grain of salt, people, grain of salt. Are there definitely occasions where people are passed over because of race, creed, color, sex, all that kind of crap? Yeah, absolutely. We're not naive. We're not dumb. Being aware of that is important. Giving the best presentation impression of yourself in order to have the opportunity to really convey why, how, when, because of. Yeah, like we need to be aware of that stuff. We've gotten to this place where if we are rejected for any reason, valid, sometimes invalid, sometimes naiveness, we take this as a personal attack against us because we didn't fit into this over here. This doesn't mean that all the square pegs gotta go in the square holes, all the round pegs in the round holes, blah, blah. It just means that particular pegs fit a lot better in particular holes. That's pretty much what's going on. How many times have you had the opportunity to put together like an IKEA thing or a shelf or whatever it is, and you're like, "Oh man, I don't have a machine screw, but I have a wood screw. Seems to be a little smaller than what I really need to be, but it's kind of going to do the job, so I'll do the job." Might not be the best thing for the job, but it does the job. Not saying it couldn't work, couldn't fit, but the prescribed solution looks like this. Why? Well, because everything in the past has proven track record with that. That doesn't mean you can't go outside the box. A lot of the greatest things in our history and society have happened going outside the box. You gotta get in front of the box first, right? You gotta have your hands on the box before you go outside the box. So, yeah, like, it does take a little bit of chutzpah, a little bit of moxie, a little bit of, "I don't have to be so sensitive all the time." Of course, I wanna be empathetic, of course, I wanna have sympathy, of course, I want to listen to individuals and allow them to open up and share, and vice versa. We need that. But don't be afraid to just be you. Stand on that. Stand on those principles, and eventually, in its time, whether by your doing, which 99% of the time, that's how it's gonna get done, you'll find yourself in a situation because you've presented yourself, put yourself in a situation, have all the skills, you've mastered all of the requirements, and it's like, "Yeah, guess what? Let's hook Dunk up. He's got he got what I need," right? I mean, like, yeah, but initially maybe it's just not a good fit. Why? Why isn't it a good fit? Well, maybe because I'm ignorant, maybe because I'm naive, maybe because I'm prejudiced, maybe because not willing to grow. And when I say prejudice, this isn't prejudice like race, people. This prejudice just like, eh, don't really like this over here. Don't like that vibe. We never really went, to this particular area before. We never explored this. So, you know what? I'm prejudiced to change. I don't want to do it. Like, that's a growth problem for that individual. It's not a reflection on you. But that doesn't mean that you take that person and throw them under the bus. That's them. They're throwing themselves under the bus. Believe me, they're throwing themselves under the bus. It will come back to them. What's affecting me? It's affecting me. I I rarely quote Bill Belichick, but they would get done with the game, win or loss. What do you think about Coach? Thinking about next week. Think about the next game. Why? Because if you spend too much time in the moment, in the actual impressions and whatever that are happening in real time, IRL kids, you're just gonna get so self-consumed that you're never going to go outside of your little safe world. And granted, should you have a safe world? Yeah. Should you have a space space? Yeah, you can have a safe space. But that doesn't mean like at some point you're not gonna have to engage. You are going to have to engage. And people go to highs and super duper duper lengths to keep this perception, this reality going on in their social world. Make sure that when you're using social media, make sure when you're using these tools that are available to us nowadays, and I'm guilty of it, Dr. Heal Thyself, make sure you're conveying who it is that you are because you don't get letters of recommendation nowadays. That's like a prerequisite. Everybody's got a degree. Everybody can get letters of recommendation. Everyone can sit there, my experience trump this, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to get that chance to make these impressions, especially nowadays. When you go in front of someone or you meet someone, what was the first thing people do? I took a deep dive on their social. I knew who they are. Oh, okay. So one or two little incidents or one or two little quippets from whenever now has given this complete definition of who I am to X, Y, and Z. Person, place, thing, relationship, whatever you call it, whatever it is, whatever you're involved in. If you are going to own it, be it, live it, do it. But don't be pissed off, trite, spiteful, whatever, when someone doesn't give you the reaction that you're trying to elicit. And don't be all of those things when there is a spontaneous bit of that. Oh, he looked like that dude's a bum. Look at him, he dressed like crap. Ugh, ugh. Oh man, she's really put together. She's so hot. Blah 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 blah. Woo woo. Like that's going to happen and it's going to come. Is it right or wrong? I'm not judging if it's right or wrong because if it's coming from an individual or an organization or a person or a thing that you want that response from, you'll gladly take it. Believe me, I've been around this block way too many times for you to try to say that's not the case. That's B freaking S. BS. BS. Everyone has someone, something that they want a reaction from. You took the hot guy, put him out there in the room, and you have all these individuals coming. What's appealing to that dude is where he's going to respond. Same thing goes for the ladies. Same thing goes for business. Same thing goes for relationships. That's why you see individuals a lot of times, and you're like, why is that smoking hot girl? Why is that smoking hot guy with that girl and that guy? Why? Because they've gotten past all the superficial stuff. And yeah, we see it, it's accepted, and they've gotten to where it matters. The connection, the personality, the emotions, the sharing, the listening. Let's get there. But there has to be something in the individuals that bring them together. Whether I'm doing it, whether you're doing it, whether the outside society, whatever's dictating it, we are putting ourselves in those positions. And to be repetitive here, you have social media as a tool to present yourself in the best light. And that's what always trips people up sometimes, right? You have these people, it's like, oh, I got this, but I got a burner account. Yeah. And then people find out you got the burner account. It's like, oh, that's really not who you were. Oh my gosh. Been places, done things, good, bad, right, wrong, and different. Owning it, this is who you are. Cannot fault anybody who does that. Can't. Hope you're happy with it. You should be happy with it. So authentically you. That's being authentically you. That's being authentic to you. And when someone says, "Hey, aren't you? Didn't you?" Yep. Yeah, it did. Did. Yep. Made amends, sorry. Changed some practices, changed some disciplines, changed some of the way that these foundations are, and my life is now better for it. Hopefully, given the opportunity, da da da. But never think that you are protected and insulated from everyone else's perception of you, especially now. Especially now. So, dress for the occasion. Dress for success. When you do that, it's not just 100% about what you're wearing. We dress ourselves from the moment that we wake up to the moment that we lay down at night. We dress ourselves mentally, we dress ourselves emotionally, we dress ourselves spiritually, and yes, we dress ourselves physically. What are you trying to elicit? What are you willing to take on? Some things are completely out of left field. You don't deserve it. Yep, 100%. Be prepared for that. Don't be naive thinking it's not going to apply to me. I look super cute today. I'm gonna go outside. Oh my god, everybody was whistling at me. Oh my god, people were catcalling me. Oh my god. Well, part and parcel. I'm rolling up into whatever function. I look like crap. And like, damn, you hung over? You look so unwell. Have you seen sun in like 10 days? What have you been doing? Yeah, you should expect things like that. Why? Because. Full stop. Just because. Because people have not evolved into this level of consciousness where none of that matters. A lot of these things still matter. Set yourself up for success. Give yourself the opportunity to present yourself in the way that you want to be known and acknowledged and remembered. Can you change it? Of course you can change it. It's gonna take a little more hard work, especially nowadays. Why? Because everything can be seen. Everything can be told. You can make a comment on some rando post 6 years ago. Somewhere somebody's gonna find it. Internet's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's alright. It's okay, man. Dress for it, live it, want it, own it. But give yourself, and this is where I'm gonna wrap up today. I see all those things and I champion everybody in their individuality. I champion everybody in living their best life. I champion everybody doing the things that make them happy, the things that make them comfortable. But you know when, we're not naive here, you know when you need to be more aware of the situation. That's all. I think that's really all that we can ask of one another. Just to be aware of the situation. Doesn't change who you are, doesn't change what you've done and what you've accomplished. But there is a certain amount of an unspoken respect for situations and places and things and people. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I hope you find people out there who are willing to talk to you, engage with you, treat you with honesty, openness, listen to you, accept all of your flaws, all of your recovery, all of your detractions, all of your subtractions, all of your additions, all of your growth. I hope they have patience, hope they have time, hope they're willing to let you be you. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Ain't that right? Duncan Dad will be back on Tuesday of next week and Thursday of this week, 1 p.m. here on SR 1029, thegame.com. Shout out to my Loyola Ramblers. Go Ramblers, Sister Jean, Coach Drew, all the boys out there on Sheridan off of Lakeshore Drive. Wednesday evening at Gentile. Funny, just little quip it here. Um, Going into the Elite Eight of the NIT. I know it's the NIT, but knocked off a couple big teams, right? Knocked off San Jose State at home. Knocked off uh, San Francisco at home. Now they get a home game versus Kent State. A lot of other people in that bracket used to be NCAA teams. A couple of them just in the Final Four a couple years ago, and I know we're still playing. One more win, we go to Indianapolis for the Final Four of the NIT, and who knows what happens? Who knows what happens? So, revenge tour for the Ramblers. Keep going, guys, and we'll see you on Thursday. Take care, everybody.